brand new developments we want to share with you in the Idaho 4 murder case against defendant Bryan Kohberger. Some brand new court filings have just been released, and the most eyebrow-raising among them is a motion to dismiss the charges entirely. Kohberger's defense team is saying that the grand jury indictment needs to be dismissed, saying that those grand jurors were misled on the standard of proof that is required for an indictment, saying that the standard should be beyond a reasonable doubt. You know that standard, the one we see at trial? They're saying it's not the standard that was given to them, which is more of a probable cause-like standard, the reasonable belief that a crime was committed by the defendant, Bryan Kohberger. The motion is 23 pages long and asks for a preliminary hearing in the alternative to an outright dismissal of the case. In the conclusion of the motion to dismiss Kohberger's defense team writes in part that the grand jury system in Idaho is, quote, tragic and unconstitutional. The motion goes on to say that no court had the power to decide that the legislature made it too hard for grand juries to do their work and change the sufficiency of evidence required to indict. Mr. Kohberger is asking this court to recognize the long string of error that led us here and give back the people of this state the protections that they are owed. Okay, I say nice try by the Kohberger defense team, and that there's no way this is getting dismissed. Look, I wasn't there when this case was presented to the grand jury. I'm not the prosecutor on it. I don't know what standard they were given. They got the transcripts from the grand jury proceeding. Remember, we told you about the fight over that. But if they even get their wish, if they get this kicked back to the magistrate court for a preliminary hearing, do they think that's going to go well for them? Do they think that it's going to get kicked there? There's no magistrate judge on the planet who's going to get rid of this case. That's my take on it at first glance. Let me bring in my guest still with me in East Lansing, Michigan, trial attorney Jamie White, and want to welcome, standing by in the Woodlands, Texas, former DEA senior special agent and the founder and CEO of Global Security Group, David Katz. Good morning to you both. Jamie White, let me start with you and get your reaction to this motion filed by the Kohberger defense team. What do you think, please?
It's showboating, it's laughable, it's offensive, and really, quite frankly, I don't want to pass judgment on the attorneys, but not appropriate. After proofs have been presented, ultimately they'll have an opportunity to make these same arguments. But at this point in time, to lay this out in front of the magistrate or the court is completely inappropriate, in my opinion. I think it's laughable, and I think they're showboating. And I think if this wasn't a nationally televised case, we probably wouldn't see this type of motion entertained.
I love everything you just said there, Jamie White. Thank you for that. I couldn't agree with you more. And David Katz, I have a little bit of a theory here, and you've been through probably countless preliminary hearings throughout your career. I think that really what they wanted all along was that prelim to happen. They expected it to happen. I can remember them telling the magistrate judge, we're going to waive our right to, having that hearing done in a speedy fashion, because they wanted to gather information, make it like a discovery proceeding, have detectives on the stand for as long as they can keep them up there to get as much information out of them. But then the state of Idaho, I think, caught them off guard a bit by doing this by way of indictment and not forcing a preliminary hearing in this case. They could do it two ways in Idaho. They chose by grand jury, indictment rather than a prelim, and kind of, I think, caught the defense team off guard. What do you think, David?
I think that's as good a theory as any. I mean, if the legal argument that they're making now is that somehow the standard of proof, the level of proof required for indictment, is unconstitutional, I mean, that's kind of bizarre. I mean, that's everyone knows that standard. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's preponderance of evidence. It's just that level of indictment. So it just it makes no sense. And I'm sure they must have some. I think they have some strategy involved. Maybe it is to get the preliminary hearing, but it is laughable.
And you're right, it doesn't make much sense. I'm so glad you said that, David. Thank you. When I was reading it this morning, you know, because this, we got a hold of this. This is overnight breaking news. If people might just be waking up to this, or if you're a night owl, you might have read it last night. You know, we rise early on this morning show, so we were all asleep and read it this morning. And I'm like rubbing my eyes, looking like, this doesn't make sense to me. And they're saying beyond a reasonable, they're trying to say that the standard should be the standard for trial that they're given at this grand jury proceeding. Jamie White, going back to, you know, the whole purpose of grand jury proceedings, you know, these are charging tools for prosecutors, are they not?
They are absolutely exactly that. These attorneys have overreached. I think they've exposed themselves to potential discipline. You know, there is no reasonable magistrate that is going to find that there is not probable cause to move these charges forward against this man. And the arguments they've made, I think it's showboating. It's inappropriate, it's offensive, and it's not in the best interest of the defendant, Julie, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, he will have his time to make the appropriate arguments, and you know, this is not that time.
Yeah, you're right, Jamie. You know, they really ought to be concerned about trial coming up. He's looking at the death penalty here if he's convicted, and that trial date fast approaching October 2nd. So you're right, their time could be a lot better spent, and I think you hit the nail on the head. They're showing off.